Hello, investors. This is Ted Zhang, portfolio manager at Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, April 15th, 5:15 p.m., coming to you from Fort Lauderdale with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Stay in the market. We're still in a harsh correction. Market leaders, short-term trend, long-term, medium-term trend, and long-term trend, still with the red arrow, although we do have yellow sub-arrows under market leaders and short-term trend. If the market leaders continue to show some feedback, and especially if the breadth of market leaders expands. On the short-term trend, we're right up against the 21 EMA above the 8 EMA. So if we can retake the 21 EMA, we'd likely move that to neutral as well. What happened today? Tight day on tax day. 21 over 21 list still under construction. You can see the summary of today is pretty much all orange or yellow. So it's quite tight action, a lot of chop. Bulls and bears fought hard, but no one won. Big 8 up 0.14%, RGA up 0.21%, S&P down 0.17%, RSP down 0.32%, Qs up 0.11%, QQEW up 0.12%, Dow Jones down 0.38%, mid caps down 0.12%, small caps down 0.11%, and global 60/40 equities bonds up 0.07%. And GROTECTION was up 0.13%. So jumping right into the first chart, which is the S&P 500. As you can see, this is the tightest day by far in the last 2 weeks. Extreme high volatility due to the tariff fiasco, but the market is really starting to digest the news and the implications so far for what we know about the tariffs. We had this bear flag breakdown, breaking down below these two key levels, crash down, and so far we're just retesting this previous support level 5,500, which has so far acted as resistance as well as declining 21 EMA. If we cannot clear that level, this is just a normal downtrend, and we're making lower lows, lower highs, and more lower lows, and this could just potentially be another lower high here. So I don't want to see today's lows being taken out, and definitely not yesterday's lows being taken out. If that happens, I could potentially favor a retest of these recent lows around 5,000. RSP, equal weighted, even weaker. Couldn't even get back to the bear flag breakdown or even close to 21 EMA, and hasn't even filled the gap up until the April 3rd date. And we're kind of just wedging here and on lower than average volume. So we'll see if this resolves into the downside as well. QQQ couldn't get above this breakdown level either, finding resistance at the 21 EMA inside day with volume significantly declining. This to me just shows if we like break this steep bear flag, we could potentially make a new leg down. We have the death cross on the Qs as well with the 50 below the 200, 200 sloping down. And if you look at the weekly, talked about stage analysis many times. We're trending below all declining weekly key moving averages, and that's a stage 4 downtrend. If you really look at this could just be the first leg down, like in 2022, before we rally up, go for a second, rally up, go for a third. So no one knows what will happen in the future. We can only prepare for all scenarios, and let's take it day by day here. QQEW, similar action. Dow Jones, similar action. Big crash, rally up to the bear flag breakdown level, rejected in 21 EMA so far. Mid caps even weaker, couldn't even get there. Small caps, similar action, even weaker than the market cap, mega cap weighted indexes. Couldn't even get back to the breakdown level of 2,000, and not even close to the decline in 21 EMA either. VIX is good to see that it's hovering. It has retreated from 60, but still above 30, and anything hovering above 30 produces more volatile environments, not the best and conducive for trend trading and low risk entries. The dollar, just starting the bear flag here, right around 100. Weak dollar, weak currency. there's an outflow of monies from the dollar, from US bonds. Perhaps foreign countries are selling our bonds because we're waging this trade war against the world. Who knows? Gold continues to float higher and hover right at all-time highs. Really, the global macro hedge funds, their biggest long position is gold, and they're starting to get overweight gold. I mean, this is the only thing that's trending well, and really to hedge to all the fiasco that is going on, potential devalue of our currency, the continuous devalue of our currency. We're going to have to print more money to support the farmers, or if we head into recession, to support the economy. And we're just in this debt and deficit spiral right now. Gold miners makes a new all-time high, I believe. No, new 52-week high. And this continues to act really strong. After the quick crash, this rebounded like a tennis ball into new highs. Just amazing action here. As you can see. SLV, much weaker than gold. It crashed as well on the tariff news, and it really just has wedged back so far. Pretty close to 200 to 150, but finding resistance at the 50-day moving average here. Bitcoin, try pushing out here, but declining 50, still acting as resistance. We reversed off the highs and closed at the lows today. Right now, this 50 level remains key on IBIT. On Bitcoin, that's 89K. Bonds rallying a little bit after selling off, which means rates are falling a bit as well, which is good. There's a lot of volatility recently. And again, there's a podcast last week I did on the various narratives. Actually, it turns out it might just be a combination of all of them. Foreign countries selling our debt. That turns into a capital war. It could be leveraged funds, as we saw some pod shops blowing up from this bond trade as they unwind their positions. Also be just awareness of the growing deficit in our country, potential factoring some inflation, not worth owning our bonds as a deficit, and debt just continues to expand. And it seems like politicians still can't find a way to address the overspending of government. TLT, similar action, huge volatility on both sides, filled breakout, filled breakdown so far. The yield has the opposite. With that being said, that is it for the inter-asset correlation. Now let's move on to the tail of the tape. So we can see here, Tuesday, April 15th. Sentiment, volatility, just hovering around that 30 area. CNN, fear, and greed still at 19, extreme fear. We're operating under the bull case, still below the 21 EMA. News, tariffs. There's some news that there's potential 15 deals, but nothing concrete. EU says the deal making and the discussions aren't going anywhere so far, so tariffs will stay. And then China's also not cooperating as well. Trump also mentioned that in a way, one of his strategies might be to force countries to either choose China or the US. And this goes back to Ray Dalio's Changing World Order book. And in that book, essentially describes the life cycle of an empire, the various power forces in the world where you have this existing hegemony, which is the US right now, an emerging power that's catching up to the US, China, like what we had before with Britain, Germany, Netherlands, Britain. And he talks about the various characteristics of a ascending empire and a declining empire. We're seeing many of those factors with the US right now in contention with China. So we'll see how this plays out in the global world stage, how the geopolitics plays out. But there's a lot of tensions going on, and there's a huge fight for the number one spot in the world. Today's keys, we came in watching the S&P in the Qs versus the 8 EMA and 21 EMA, closed above the 8, below 21. Leadership follow through today. No follow through today, but some leaders acted well, especially Palantir, which we own. Day count up to consolidation 1. 3 days above the 8 EMA, 15 days below the 21 EMA. Expectations are negative. Action, we pretty much capped up a little bit and chopped all day. Sectors. Sectors today, bond yields were slightly down, so bond prices rose. I forgot to delete this part. And actually, I need to I pretty much messed this part up, didn't fill it in. Grow Holdings, we still own SPLG, Palantir. RVAB is 0.26. Rebar is minus 1.02%, and then no trades. Bottom line is tight day on tax day. So continue on. Since 21 over 21 list is still under construction, I just had some charts of interest today. Palantir, we own this name, continues to make this new high. It took out that double bottom midpoint break. So this is definitely a leader acting well right now. And we'll see how this plays out here. This succumbs to the pressures of the market if we do decide to roll over again for another leg down. Palantir, another name showing RS. You can see pattern recognition is pointing out this double bottom. 621 is the pivot. Netflix, also double bottom, being spotted by pattern recognition. RS blue dot as well, which means RS line new high before price. That's looking great. Something's happened to my market surge. Give me 1 second. Uber, just a huge base on base, extending all the way back to March 2024. So over a 1 year base now, and this continues to grow earnings, triple digits in the last 3 quarters. And let's see if we can surprise in 15 days and cap out of this base into a new uptrend. ADMA is thinner, but this broke out of a cup with handle as well and followed through. So that's a good first sign. WGS back over 100, forming this base on base here after this earnings gap. Triple digits in the last 2 quarters, mid to high double digits sales. So that looks good too. And Celsius is a potential turnaround situation. We have this huge stage 4 downtrend. Now we're starting to enter stage 1. We still need some time. Just base sideways. Let the moving averages catch up, flatten before we turn out and break out the stage 2 uptrend. And finally, MP Materials is a warning sign. We gapped up on the rare earth minerals news from Trump and then gapped up again and reversed all of it. So there's still volatility around breakout levels. Some leaders are acting well while others are still struggling. And we continue to monitor the price action of the leaders, the breadth of the leaders and indexes. And because I wasn't able to update, or I failed to update the sectors, let's go over some strong sectors real quick. Starting off, regional banks were strong today with rates starting to come down. Software was strong, up 1.3%. The 50 FFTY was strong. Of course, gold was really strong today. And semis bounced a little bit, but still in the stage 4 downtrend. On the downside, you have retail weak in the stage 4 downtrend. Solar's weak, Bitcoin was weak, lithium was weak, and then home builders was weak as well. So that being said, we'll wrap it up for today. Really tight day, really choppy day, really nothing much going on. And we're going to see how this plays out, whether we can resolve to the upside, break the 21 EMA and 5,500, maybe get a push into the 50-day and 200-day, but then the rubber really meets the road here. We'll have to see if we reject like what we did in 2022 before making a new leg down. So that could be a potential scenario like that, like what we had in 2022 as well. So that being said, we'll wrap it up for today's video. This is Ted Zhang with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. If you're interested in joining Revere and what we do, you can email me at ted@revereasset.com. Twitter, Ted H. Zhang. There should be a G right there. I'm not sure why it got deleted. Our phone is 855-REAL-WEALTH. That's 855-732-5932. Our website is revereasset.com and our YouTube is Revere Asset. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. Have a good rest of your week. Happy Easter. Happy Good Friday if you guys celebrate that. And it's a holy week for those who do. So happy Easter, everyone. And we'll talk to you guys later.